With the increasing rise of capital gains taxes, crypto restrictions, and overall just things that politicians are dreaming of, and the rise of Bitcoin, the rise of cryptocurrencies like Solana, which has been exploding, and other projects out there that you might be holding, the next couple of months are going to be insane in the crypto atmosphere, and also your taxes are going to be insane. This is the best time for crypto investors, crypto enthusiasts, new crypto millionaires to start looking at potential plan Bs when it comes to your passport and your residence. If you're living in a high-tax country like the US, like Canada, like Australia, you should start looking at other countries to plant some flags. Look at countries that offer residence permits for investors. Look at countries that offer citizenship for investors. Specifically, if you come from the United States, you know that wherever you go in the world, you need to pay taxes back to the United States, and there is no way to reduce that tax because you're making taxes from capital gains, from cryptocurrency. So there is no way to pay less taxes just by getting out of the United States. So you need a faster option. You could get a citizenship in 6 to 8 months from St. Kitts, Dominica, all these countries that we talk about through citizenship by investment. You can invest about $150,000, $100,000 in some cases and get it in about 6 to 8 months. So you can then have a plan B to maybe later on renounce your US citizenship so you don't need to pay taxes ever again to the United States or anywhere else. If you're from one of these high tax countries, you can get a second passport through citizenship by investment, just in case, for example, like in Canada, they're debating a wealth tax, they're debating citizenship-based taxation. A lot of politicians have been talking about making taxes more fair, which doesn't make any sense, but in their eyes, they just want more votes from people. They want people to think like, oh, let's make it more fair. Let's make it like the United States. Let's put citizenship-based taxation and have every Canadian out there, every British person out there, every Australian out there pay taxes on their citizenship, which is ridiculous, but it might be coming to a country that you are a citizen of. So you want to look at different options, maybe not just citizenship by investment, but also residence by investment. For example, there are countries around the world that don't tax crypto or just have 0% capital gains, like the UAE and Dubai, like Portugal doesn't tax cryptocurrency, and you could get a residence permit in Portugal through their Portuguese golden visa. You make an investment of about 500,000 euros or $600,000, get a residence permit, you can live in Portugal or you cannot. You can get 10-year tax vacation if you actually want to live there, so you don't need to pay taxes on any business income or any other type of income. Obviously, there's exceptions to this. Don't just take this as a rule. Well, I'm never paying tax in Portugal. There are exceptions. There's ways to do this wrong. There's ways to do it right. Obviously, if you need my help, you can go to wealthyexpat.com/apply. We'll talk about the details. You could also just not pay tax on your cryptocurrency gains if you live in Portugal, or you could just have that residence permit just in case things go nuts. If you're from Canada and you want to have at least a back pocket residence in Europe, just an extra plan B, just in case something bad happens in Canada that I can get out. I at least have another place that I can go to. I at least have Portugal. I at least have all the countries in the Schengen area that I can go to just in case things get bad enough. You also have Dubai, for example, the UAE, where I have a residence permit. You could go there, pay 0% tax as long as you're not an American. If you're an American, the only way is to renounce your US citizenship or move to Puerto Rico. And if you want to move to Puerto Rico, even though I don't recommend it to most people, you want to start the process now. It's better to be 1 year, 2 years, 5 years early than 1 day too late when you can't do anything. So if you want to move to Puerto Rico in 1 year, you want to renounce your citizenship in 5 years, you want to move to another country in 10 years, start the process now. Start looking at the different options. Maybe if you come from one of these high tax countries like the US, like Canada, that have a lot of immigrants, maybe your parents, maybe your grandparents come from a country where you can get citizenship. For example, I have one of my friends in Puerto Rico. He got Spanish citizenship through his family, and he is now a dual citizen of the US and Spain, and maybe later on he wants to renounce his US citizenship in order to avoid taxes. Obviously, as long as he doesn't live in Spain, because he's gonna have to pay Spanish taxes, but he can just travel to other countries, live in another place with a Spanish passport and not pay taxes to the US. So you might want to look at those options in your family tree. You might also want to look at your wife or your girlfriend or your husband or your boyfriend, whoever you're spending your life with. For example, I was talking to one of my clients in the US. He lives in the US, but he's actually married to a Chilean woman, to a person that is a citizen of Chile. And he qualifies for Chilean citizenship through marriage. After spending some time in Chile, learning some of the language and following some processes, he can get the Chilean citizenship without making an investment, without living there 10 years. So he can get a pretty good passport after a couple of months or after a couple of years because he is married to a Chilean citizen. So you also want to look at those options. There are many options out there. There is not just the citizenship option, even though that is the fastest, that is the easiest, that is the most guaranteed of all of them. You can get citizenship through many other ways. For example, if you're just trying to get out of your high tax country, maybe finding other options out there, you could look at just living in a country for 5, 10 years and getting the citizenship of that country, but start the process now so that in 5 years, in 10 years, you have the option of renouncing US citizenship. Some of my Indian clients, for example, they want to get rid of their Indian citizenship, get a better citizenship. Start the process now. Don't think, oh, I'm going to start it when it gets bad enough. I'm going to start it when it hurts me enough. And now I'm good. I don't need to do it. Taxes are still not high enough, which is an insane thing to say now that taxes are pretty much extremely high in all these high tax countries that I'm helping you get out of. But start looking at these Plan B passports. I recently made a video on the best passports for crypto investors. For example, if you're a high net worth individual or an ultra high net worth crypto investor, or maybe now you invested in some shit coin or some altcoin that went up 100x, and now you have an extra $3 million, $5 million that you don't know what to do with, instead of buying a yacht, maybe buy Maltese citizenship by investment for $1 million donation, and you can have a really good passport that is one of the top passports in the world, allows you to live in the European Union, and you can get that in 12 to 16 months. Very quick for a passport of that quality for $1 million donation. So you can look at all these options depending on how much money you have. And also, if you're an American that wants to renounce their US citizenship, the embassies and the consulates all around the world where you need to renounce your US citizenship, you need to do it at an embassy or a consulate, they have massive waiting lists. For example, in Canada, where there's a lot of US and Canada dual citizens, a lot of people want to renounce their US citizenship now after the pandemic, and the waiting time is 2 years. 2-year waiting period in order to actually get an appointment at the embassy and renounce your US citizenship. So you might be waiting around for 2-3 years in order to get rid of a US citizenship. Start now. Don't start when it's too late or a day too late, because then it might just be too late and you might end up paying a ton of tax, especially if you're an American and you want to renounce your US citizenship. You also need to consider the exit tax. If you have more than $2 million in assets, you have to pay an exit tax if you want to renounce at that point where you have more than 2 million. If you have 2.2 million, maybe use 200,000 of that for a Caribbean citizenship by investment. Get another passport, maybe do some gifting strategies that we can talk about one-on-one. Obviously, this is very specific to each person. We can get on a call, wealthyexpat.com/apply, and we can talk there and see what option fits you. But you can drastically lower that net worth in order to not have to pay that exit tax. So there's ways of using passports, using residences in order to help you with your current tax situation, or just have a plan B for the next couple of months and years in order to not find yourself in a position where there's nothing you can do and you need to pay that tax. Maybe you're a US citizen that wants to move to Puerto Rico, start the process now. Maybe you're a Canadian, you want to get another passport, start the process now so it's not a minute too late. And if you want help with any part of this process, getting a citizenship, getting residence permits, moving abroad, figuring out your plan B, make sure to go to wealthyexpat.com/apply. That first link in the description. Let's talk one-on-one. I have a service where I help people hold their hand throughout all this process so that they can achieve that wealthy expat lifestyle and have that plan B ready in order to not be screwed later on, specifically if you are a crypto investor. And also check out the video that I made here, the top passports for crypto investors. I myself love crypto. I have a lot of crypto friends, and I want to help all crypto investors out there have the best passports for you and have the best possible ways of protecting yourself from governments and politicians. Check out the video there. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos, and hit that like button down below if you enjoyed it. I will see you on the next video.